Howdy, here is Bonnie, your podcast host. Before we dive into this episode, I want to introduce you to my heartfelt and transformative novel, It Was Here. Dive into the captivating story of Harrison Selick, a 41-year-old divorced man navigating the complexities of love, loss, and self-discovery. In this beautifully crafted tale, Harrison's journey of rebuilding his life after a devastating divorce unfolds with raw emotion and unexpected twists. Join him as he grapples with his past, embraces the present, and embarks on a path to rediscover true love. But that's not all. Immerse yourself further in the world of It Was Here with our exclusive merchandise. We have a range of stunning postcards, posters, and stickers inspired by the novel, allowing you to carry a piece of this extraordinary story wherever you go. Side note here, there is an offer box available, and there you get everything. There you get a signed hardback copy and all of the merch. So yeah, listeners, get ready to be captivated by It Was Here and its compelling exploration of love, forgiveness, and the beauty of second chances. Don't miss out on this remarkable journey that will leave you feeling inspired and touched. To get your hands on the book or the offer books, and of course our fabulous merchandise, visit the website at thecrylounge.com, or it's also linked in the bio. Discover a story that will stay with you long after you've turned the final page. I promise. Get your copy of It Was Here today. Howdy everyone, I am so excited to finally present to you this conversation I had with Olivia DeToma. We've met the very first time February 2022. Get this conversation you're going to listen is almost 1.5 years old. It took me so long, and I apologize, and I want to thank Olivia for her patience so much. So, we talked twice. We first talked in February 2022, and then we talked again February 2023. And the conversation you're about to hear is from 2022. We recorded this as a part of the music feature of my podcast called Or Pretty New Music, where I interview artists about the new singles. And back then Olivia released Push, which I love this song. I really do. I love it so much. Not as much as Drifter. It's like, it's like the second favorite sister of Drifter to Drifter. Well, I love Push. It's good. You should listen to both. You should listen to Drifter and Push. We also talk about Drifter a bit in here, but mostly about Push. And so the reason why it took me so long to upload this episode is basically we talked so much and so long, and I freaking loved every minute of it. I did not want to cut anything out of there. And so back then, this music feature was still a blog, and I knew I would have to shift to podcasts. So basically this is why it took me so long to upload this episode. But I am grateful we're all here now, and I'm grateful you're listening now to this, and I hope you have a wonderful time with Olivia and me talking about Push. and we go in depth. We go in depth also in this episode about her musical journey, and I really love this episode because if you're new to Olivia DeToma, you have no idea who she is, this episode is gonna give you the right impression. It's giving you the right details. I just loved talking to her, and I loved meeting her, and it was like really interesting because I really loved her music. I really loved Drifter. She has just released one single back then when I interviewed her, and Push was about to come out, and she's so talented, and I see a great future for her. And yeah, so that's why I am really proud of this conversation, and I hope you have fun. I know I said this the first time. I hope you have fun listening to this, and yeah. Oh, as always, the theme song is by E.B. Solis. Have fun. Okay, so we're gonna start with the Bonnie's Legends, Jack. These are 5 questions I'm asking everybody. So, what's your name?
Olivia DeToma is my name.
Nice. So you pronounce it DeToma?
Yeah, DeToma.
Okay, good. I was like thinking about a French, pronunciation, because I think maybe because I'm like living at like so close to the border, so I'm like DeToma.
Yeah. Hey, that works. It's Italian, so any of the Romance languages, it'll fit the vibe.
Yeah. Okay, when's your birthday?
My birthday's April 5th.
Who's your legend?
My legend?
Mm-hmm. Tough one.
Oh man, absolute legend status. I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I always have one, and then someone asks, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Let me think. I feel like it should be obvious to me, but I'm coming up with like all of these different names. I'm gonna go with okay, I'm gonna choose this one because it's top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say full legend status goes to okay, because I'm like bands, solo acts, like my heart wants to say Stevie Nicks, the other part of me wanted to say Sade, the other part of me wants to say the Beyonce, of course, even though she's so not my genre, she is like the legend. I'm trying to think like more recently, like who do I think has achieved already like legend status? Doja Cat. But when it comes to me personally,
yeah,
I'm gonna say my legend status award, I'm gonna give it to Justin Vernon. Yeah, Justin Vernon of Bon Iver. And I just like the way that he is able to, he really has his sound, and he really has his whole world built.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that he touches I think it gets swooped up into that world. And I think it's nice the way that he is such a collaborator as well. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna give you a second one. Okay, totally different genre, because I finally remembered who it is. Robin with a Y.
Yes.
Yeah, she's awesome. And I respect her a lot for her longevity, of course, and for her world, because she's always kind of stayed true to, her sound with the experimentation, of course. Anybody who's a songwriter as well, like those sneaky songwriters, people who are, behind the scenes for other artists. And I know that there's one that I've been thinking about a lot, but that one doesn't come to mind. So I'll leave you with those two.
What's an album you can't get enough at the moment?
At the moment, Maggie Rogers, I think it's called From the Vault. It's the one she put out recently, but like maybe a couple years ago now. And it's all of these really acoustic led, like singer-songwriter vibe tunes that she has and / had, that she released, of course, after her debut. Yeah. And I've been listening to that on repeat, honestly, like start to finish, no shuffle.
Me too.
I think the only reason I didn't say she's a legend is because she's newer comparatively.
Yeah.
And not like I think that should matter, However, I'm trying to go bigger with the other question, but I feel like to me, I really, 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 really look up to her, specifically because of the way that she can go pop, but she still isn't like totally fully, like fully pop. She still has those singer-songwriter roots and everything that she does. And that album like just kind of proves it. Not like I think I needed any proof, but I love to see an artist like strip it down and just like show us what they've got. And show us what they may have been working with before that other album came out, because it's just so informative. And her songwriting is just so gorgeous, and her lyricism is very, very colorful. And her voice is it's so unique. You don't really hear anybody else that sounds like her. So I would say that one.
It's a good one. We're going to start now with the questions about your singer, Push.
Okay.
So the first question would be, introduce yourself, where you're coming from, what's your journey?
Gotcha. My name's Olivia DeToma. I am based in LA, but I'm from Massachusetts. I moved here in July of 2019. It's very easy for me to remember. It was July 1st that I landed in California in my car. I drove here cross country with my dad. We did like 6 days, which was really fun. We took the northern route. So we went up through like Ohio. We stopped to see my grandparents, and then through all those other states, not Nashville, the one at the end. A couple of really boring ones, and then you get to like Colorado and Utah, not Utah, but the mountains, and then you come down. So that's how I got here. So that was majestic. And I've been here since then. Luckily, when the pandemic hit, I was not ousted from my current situation. I was lucky to have found a job that was going to save my ass, pandemic or no pandemic. I started it in February. So I had like a couple weeks of work before they sent us home, but I got to keep my job. Thank God. So I'm still here. I did get to spend some time at home over the past two winters, longer than I would have anticipated last year because of what was going on, and this year just for the holidays. But yeah, so I feel particularly charmed to still be here, because I moved here anticipating that it was going to be hard, not a lot of money, in fact, like not much money at all to speak of. And it was kind of getting to a point where I was like really hitting rock bottom right before I kind of got my situation changed a little bit. And it was scary, I didn't want to have to leave just because, I didn't want to have to leave, I hadn't even been here that long, I was like, I came here for music. I haven't even done that yet. So it was basically survival mode for like a year. I would say honestly, like a year and a half. And I'd had material and I'd been writing, but I hadn't put anything out. I wasn't ready. I was mired in honestly a lot of mental health issues at the time. So when Drifter came out in July, that was kind of like the breaking point or not the breaking point, but the shift. Because I'd been waiting for this moment for so long. And it's strange. I expected to have so much of that like inner child, inner teenager, like excitement and like butterflies and like, oh my God, like blah, 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 like stars in my eyes. But I think since it was the first one, I had a lot of, expectations for myself. I was nervous, it was kind of like, okay, once I do this, I'm really in it, and it was like realizing and having to come to terms with the fact that I had to really commit. And also learning more things about the business, learning more things about the industry, learning more things about this environment. When you're older, you just get a little more like, it's harder to see just the starry eyes and not get mired down by the other stuff. So I think it was so much of a blur leading up to that. And like that first year and a half being in LA was a blur for me. But I think that it was an educational blur because through the blur, I came out of that. And when I kind of like my eyes opened up, I was like, oh, I actually have something here. And I felt like I had songs that were even in pieces or that were finished that I was like, okay, like some of those little twinkles were coming back because I had shaken off some of that like first layer of like, okay, we have to, jump into the business side and like the industry side. And once I was just in it and doing it and my feet were wet, I was like, okay, like let's roll. Like let's do this. Because from the beginning, of my life, I guess I've always wanted to be a musician. I've always wanted to be. When I was little, I would say, oh, I want to be a pop star.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to be a pop star. Like Maggie Rogers, she's my blueprint,
Yeah.
She can play big tours. People don't necessarily chase her down the street with cameras. I don't think, not yet. And I always say, that's me sitting here saying that now. Obviously, if the universe wants to be insane and like throw that at me, I'll figure it out, but I'm not in it for that. I never have been. I've always wanted to just be able to make music and be able to play on stages and be able to work with people. Because growing up, I didn't have musical collaboration at all. I wasn't in an environment where music was something that people really took seriously. It just wasn't. So like other kids would, play instruments or whatever, but it wasn't like I was starting a band. It wasn't until actually my senior year of high school or maybe junior, there was a band that got formed by some guys in my grade who I sort of was friends with. We had some classes together. But it wasn't until then that they were like, oh wait, maybe we should ask Olivia if she wants to sing some songs with us. Cause like, she's good and we're pretty good, whatever. So my senior year, we ended up doing a set together. And that was kind of the first time that I'd experienced that. And I was like, all right, this is like crack. This is it. I'm doing this forever. No questions about it. So yeah, I've always kind of described myself as as a film student turned indie artist. I've always been a singer-songwriter. I've always been a singer. I've always been a musician, but I have not always been an indie artist. I went to school for film. So a lot of my work surrounds itself around cinematic moments. The way I would explain it is like the way my brain works is oftentimes I'll get an image or a feeling or a little line of a lyric, something poetic, whatever. Yeah. And then I kind of see like a flash of stuff. And then I kind of go from there to see what do I want to pick from, what's my imagery, whatever, whether it be very calculated or not. But since I have such a film background and since I thought I wanted to be a director my whole life, which I would like to dabble in, I'm a mixed bag, but I really thought like, okay, because everyone was saying music, no music. I was like, well, fine. I will go to liberal arts school. I'll get a film degree and I'll minor in theater and I'll hack this myself. I'm like that. I don't like being told what to do. Yeah. I like doing things my own way. So that's why I say that I'm a film student turned kid turned indie artist. Yeah.
Nice. Just a question. Have you like graduated university or did you like drop off to make music?
I have. That would have been cool. I graduated college, this will age me a little bit. I graduated in 2017. So that was my graduation year. So I'm finished. I never really wanted to go back to grad school because once I realized I wanted to focus on music, there was really no purpose. I was like, I think anything, A, I don't have grad school money, and B, anything that I wanted to learn. Once I moved here and I realized, I was like, oh, like I can learn by doing, and I have lots of people around me now who can help me.
Love this. Love your journey.
It's wild when you say it, when I say it out loud. Like, it's funny, because people, especially in the first year, and now I'm almost at year 3. But when I first got here and people like found out, the story, I guess, of how I got here, no job, no money, basically cross country road trip. They're like, wow, like that's nuts. Like you did the crazy thing, So I'm like, oh yeah. Shoot, I guess I did. I did. Oh my God, weird. Yeah. I will say, I'm not going to blame it on COVID, but I am going to blame it on COVID. Being cut off from the scene out here, especially when I first got here, it was like, I had no sense of where I stood even. And that negative self-talk was so easy to just slip on in there because all you see is social media, the internet, the Grammys, whatever. And those people, they're just at a different level. And like, it's easy to get down on yourself, but it wasn't until things started to get better. And I remember the first thing I got to do, there's this really cool venue out here in LA called Zebulon. If you ever come here, you definitely got to go hang out there one night. They have lots of indie shows. a cool patio. But there was this artist playing that my friend had asked me to go see. She was doing her album release show. Her name's also Olivia, actually, which was lovely. But when I got there, I found out that the opener for her was this artist called Madeline Kenny, who I love. She's pretty new. She's really indie. And I'd never seen her live before. I had no idea what her live set was. Her music is very full bodied. So, you never know really what somebody's got going on, whether it's 10-piece band or whether it's all on a computer.
Yeah.
And when she got up to play, it was just her and her guitar. And she had a pedal board and she had a keyboard. And I'm trying to graduate to pedal board and I'm teaching myself keys slowly. But she was saying, it's my first show back, guys. Right off the bat, she was honest about it. She messed up a couple times. She even started over. She even started a song over. And everyone was like, fuck yeah. Like no one cared, obviously.
Yes.
And like she, was obviously nervous and she admitted it. And everyone was like, don't worry, you're good. But in that moment, it was like, shoot, like even these people I really look up to and who I think in my head are flawless, perfect, specimens of performance, they're literally just like me. We're all having the same thoughts. And like, I was looking at her still so inspired and so, like in awe of what she was doing. Like, I didn't define her by those two flubs that she made or whatever, it was about the way that she said, you know what, screw that. I'm just going to do it again. Cause like, who cares,
Yeah.
It was important for me to see that. So it's felt much better since then. And I realized that part of why it was so hard to get out of my own head was just simply because I was stuck in these four walls and it wasn't all my fault.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people experienced that during the pandemic. I was like, I know it was just, you were stuck with yourself. And I mean, I was stuck with my parents, but like, still you were like laying in your bed, like in the bedroom alone. And you were like, huh, interesting. I'm on my own. Maybe I should talk with myself. What?
Right. Totally.
What is the title of your upcoming single and when does it come out?
It's called Push and it comes out on 2/28/2022.
Yeah. So the day this drops.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. Describe Push in 3 words.
3 words.
Yeah.
Energetic, playful, defiant.
Nice. Does the title have a special meaning? Like where does the title come from?
It came from the song. I think song titles are something that I hate dealing with. Because the easiest way for me to do it when I'm writing is I just need a code word. And it's always like something just like arbitrary from the song that's like a repeated word or something so I can remember. But then I get so stuck on that I can't think of anything that doesn't make me cringe afterwards.
Yeah.
So in all honesty, no. It definitely has meaning, and I can give it meaning.
Yeah.
But it just, I wanted a one word. Once I figured out that the other ones I was brainstorming were just like too much, I was like, okay, the one word, straight to the point, gives off the right vibe, easy to remember, will remind people of lyrics once they hear it. Yeah. Nice. So like, no, but like,
yeah.
Not totally no.
These project titles are always like, I don't know, once you call your project something, even if it's just your project title, you're gonna stuck with it. It's the same with books. It's like you start writing it and give it a project title just to save it, and then 1 year later you're releasing it and you're like, I never really thought about the title, but now is it already too late? Oh, okay. Yeah. let's just go with it.
Right.
Makes sense. What inspired the track? What is the song about?
So the song is about it's specifically about an awareness. That awareness that you get when you're out and like at a party or a bar and you're having a good time, you're having a good day, good brain day as I call it. And you kind of get the vibe that everyone around you is kind of like talking about you still. Specifically, I was thinking about, and this isn't necessarily from direct experience, more so a culmination of a lot of different vibes into one story, kind of. the easiest way to describe it is you're out with one specific person who may be your romantic interest, maybe a friend, either way, somebody who may know about your struggles, the things you've gone through, the things that are hard for you. For me, I struggle with anxiety. And so it was inspired by that in part as well. But that person who knows about it, and still you can tell they have that vibe about them that's like, wow, like, oh, look, she's doing really good. Or like, oh, I don't know, she's not doing so good. Or like, just trying to take cues from you when they really have no agency or right to do that. And speaking for you. It's about that energy when you're in the room and you just feel like everybody knows. Whatever it is they know, or that they may know, they know it. And you're just sick of it. And you're like, you know what? Like, I don't need this. It's really about the choice to walk away and about the choice to go out and take the night on by yourself and just be like, you know what? Like, I hate when you push me around like this. I don't like feeling like this, whether it is very direct or whether it's, passive aggressive or what. It's just about taking that stand for yourself and not even having to say anything about it. Just like walking out, Irish exit, just, not being afraid to be like, you know what, like, I'm done for the night. Like, I had my fun, and not letting it get you down.
What did the process of making a song look like, and how long did it take?
So this one was different for me, actually. Normally, like I think I mentioned before, I usually get like either an image or like a one-liner or a two-liner or a rhythm. So like a syncopation of like, and then I'll kind of take that and run with it. It's usually always at least one phrase, that gives me the flavor of what I'm doing, gives me maybe the theme. I like to think of my songs. This is going to sound really, really corny, but I do like to think of my songs like poems in that sense of like, I don't always know where it's going to go. Sometimes I do, but a lot of the time, the ones that come naturally, that's always how it happens. It's always like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. Like, what was the one it doesn't matter. I was thinking of one the other day where I was like, oh, this is going to help me explain to Bonnie, like, what goes down. Cause I'll like write it down. And then my notes app is a nightmare. My voice memos app is also a nightmare. But this one was different. This one, I was challenging myself to practice more guitar riffs and to start a song based off of a riff.
Wow.
So I was messing around. I found a riff. It's that one you hear in the promo. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And then when I had that, I just put it on a loop. I just put it on a quick loop for myself because I was like, I'm hearing something here. And I just need to listen to it and figure out what it is. So once I did that, the first verse had popped out like in 5 seconds. That dun, 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 like the melody came, the rhythm came. And I think it was keep time inside my body, move beneath the skin. That was the one line that I got for this song. And I was like, interesting. We're at a party. Okay. And then that verse, all of us, it just became about like being on the dance floor by yourself, and then from there, the story kind of unfolded. And I kind of figured out the theme, second verse, I was like, all right, we're taking more of a like detailed look at the situation at this party, at this bar. Whereas the first part was a little more arbitrary. It was in our head. It's kind of like before we realize maybe fully what's going on. And then I realized from that moment, because the last song I traveled around kind of to get it recorded. I went up to Sacramento and I met up with my friend from college who's a drummer and his roommate who's a bassist. And I came back down and I had my other friend put guitar on it and I did the acoustic, but it was like this wonderful hodgepodge of all these different musicians. It took more time and I was in the studio, so it took more money. And so I said, well, let's challenge myself to be brave and do the recording all myself this time. Let me try and self-produce and just see how it goes. Because at the worst, I'll just show up to the studio and we'll do it again, whatever. I had just bought my new mic. I got a mic. I had, it was mostly the mic thing. I wasn't really happy with the one I was recording with before. And I said, let's break out the old Aria, my electric, and challenge myself to use her as well. So from then it took me, I'm just going to like ballpark like several months. Because while the lyrics were written, I changed them around a little bit. And honestly, I will say it didn't take me as long to record as I thought it was going to. What takes the time is how much I procrastinate between like sessions.
Everybody does.
But yeah, so that was fun because I didn't have to wait to like go to the studio. And for me, the studio, like, I love it, but it also, I have to use it differently. I think when I go in there with a plan, I actually don't do as well as I hope because I have such high expectations for how I will perform, my ideas, whatever. Whereas I think I need to use studio time more like other people do, which is they just go in and say, okay, this is my day to just like make something and get some ideas. Or like, I have this teeny little snippet, like, let's see where that goes. So it was really cool because I was able to just like hunker down here on this couch. I could sit down and just go, you know, and if I wanted to work till 4 a.m., then I could do that. And if I wanted to skip 2 days, you know, and then do it again, like I could do that. But when I was in the zone, I was in the zone. And it was fun to do all of the different guitar parts. I did some keys, which I had not done for myself before. And I did use like a drum split track. Cause I didn't have a drummer on hand. And so I used a drummer track, and then I recorded some sounds from outside, which was fun. That's something I like to put into my music. I heard some really good advice once from a producer who said that some of the best songs that they'd ever heard or worked on included this like textural sounds from the diegetic world, whether it be street or whatever, because it just gives it, even if you can't necessarily hear it underneath everything, it still kind of gives it flavor and it gives it an environment is kind of what they talked about. So I love that idea. And that's the film brain coming in. So I had some fun playing with the sounds. And I say all in all, I think I'm trying to pinpoint like when I wrote that riff, and I would have to go back to my voice memos, but I think it was, what's it now, February? The song was done, like the master was done by Christmas, which means that I was done with the song. So let's just say if the master was done by Christmas, it probably took, I think it took August, September, October, November. Oh my gosh, I guess only 4 months. Because I remember writing it and finishing it like right after Drifter came out. And it's funny because I had recorded another one to start working on for the next drop. And then I finished this one and I was like, oh, I guess, nope, this one's next. This one's next. Like, so that, okay, that's the timeline. So about 4 months.
Actually, I wanted to tell you something. I heard, like, I'm watching these producing videos, like producers sit down in the studio and they break down a song. And Phineas sat down once and he always does that with Billy's songs. He always
maybe it was him that I learned it from.
Yeah, it was like going viral on TikTok as well. Like where he was like explaining, it was this one little sound where people were like just wondering how he did that, and he was just like, it's this traffic light switching, and everybody was like, what? Like, what? So simple. What? That went wild. So maybe you have watched that. I don't know.
I think I had. It must have been him, because I think it was a TikTok that I saw. When I was starting to get into like producer TikTok and like music biz TikTok. I think it was him. I have a terrible memory, but it had to have been him, especially if you also hear that he was doing the same thing. It was probably him.
Okay.
It's cool because it gets you out in the world, you know, it gets me outside of these four walls.
And I think it's also, I'm not knowing how the brain works, but maybe it's also, even for all these affects are on this sound line. The sample, your unconsciousness is like figuring out what it is, and it's familiar to you, so you're like, yes, I like this song is familiar to me because I don't know, there's this traffic light.
Right. Totally.
What is your favorite lyric line from it?
Let me look at them really quickly, because that'll be faster than me trying to guess. Fun fact about me as a musician, I never know the words to my own songs. This one I do, but any of the other ones I've written, I have to practice even my own lyrics so much. I had a come to Jesus moment with my lyric writing where, like, when I was starting out, I really wanted to make it really metaphorical and like hard to grasp, and very like, that was my high school me as well, because I didn't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want people to know what I was truly thinking. I was always like, they'll read into it however they want to read into it. It's right. It's like it's like when someone reads a poem, whatever. Now I'm much more comfortable being like, no, I'm saying this. Because it was also harder to remember my lyrics when none of them ultimately made any like narrative sense, so I've improved there. So I would say my favorite lyric in this one is, I had a favorite last week, so it's funny that you asked me that, because I was listening to the master and I was like, God, I love that line. And now I'm like totally changing my mind about it. I would say my favorite one, it's hard for, let me think. It always happens when I'm singing it. I'm like, oh, that's my favorite line. It's definitely the bridge part. The like, I held my breath because I wanted to. I feel like death I never want to do. I think, yeah. I was particularly proud of Keep Time Inside My Body, Move Beneath the Skin, Latest at the Party, Ride the BPM as well. That was my favorite last week when I was listening to it. That's like my usual favorite.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just words, but when I put, if you're asking about like the lyric and the way it feels to sing it, then the bridge part.
The bridge part. Yeah, but I think the bridge is always something special. It's always something. It's the heart of the song almost. Yeah. Because totally. I think a good bridge can make you listen to that to that song over and over, just to listen to that bridge.
That's how I really hope that that's how people respond to this. And I think I feel like that's the vibe. Yeah. It is, I am going to stick with that. That is my favorite part of the song.
Nice.
Is that bridge. Because it's like what you said, it is the heart of it. Yeah. It's kind of like the thesis statement. It's kind of like,
yeah, it's also
like what's actually going on.
Yeah. And it's also clever. I don't know. The bridge is, I think it's just clever because, when I'm thinking about Let It Happen by Tame Impala, this guitar riff, this bridge is at the end of the song, but you always listen to the song because you want to get to that guitar riff. It's like,
right.
They're clever. They're just putting a 7-minute song and putting the best part of it at the end of it.
Very, very clever. It's been interesting to find the intersection between like that exact thing, like writing for your audience and writing for yourself and your art.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes very naturally.
Yeah.
Like this, it came very naturally. That feels very natural. Other times I'm writing and I'll catch myself getting too much into the like, oh, well, it won't be as, playable this way. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I have to be really careful not to like get too tied down with that stuff, because it really will like poison your brain. But when it works. And it's so cool when you can find like your perfect happy medium of like, okay, we've done it. Like, I think it's an earworm and I didn't betray myself.
Yeah. Where's the perfect place to be for listening to the single for the first time?
I have an answer for this. Oh, yes. Okay. Definitely. It's like a choose. Either you're walking out of the bar and you're walking home, if it's safe for you. But if you're not doing that, then you're definitely in the back of an Uber with the window down and like, what? You head out, looking at everything around you. Yeah. That's the best place. However your mode of transportation is when you're leaving the place, but in the spirit of the song, when you're actually taking those first steps out into the night by yourself, I would say is the best place. Number one way to hear it for the first time, because that's what I wrote it for, and the spirit of it. I wanted a song that I, would think was fun to listen to when I was doing that. Like what song would I want to hear if I was breaking out on my own after leaving the bar? And I think that would be a really cool way for people to hear it for the first time.
Nice. I'm trying to think how I can adapt it to my own situation.
Bar, party, Christmas party, family dinner. That's the thing, it can apply to anything, and that's where my little, like my arbitrary, my vague songwriting comes in, and why I do still like to have some of that, because even though this song is, more specific, like you can apply it to anything, and I'm like, I don't want to alienate people who can't go to the bar, because it's not just about being in the bar. In fact, it's not about the bar at all. So high school assembly class. Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah. Because it's not only just about the anxiety and stuff, or like people talking about you, but like when people are just like pushing your buttons, like, and that happens everywhere, Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Is there a music video to it? Not yet. I was having a conversation with a director like last week about maybe doing one. There's a concept. I know exactly what it would be. I know exactly how it would look. I know what I would wear.
Yeah.
I know how we would shoot it.
That's
but
a
it
film
does not
student
exist
in your mind. Yeah.
yet. Yeah. So not yet. My thing with music videos is I am interested in seeing what will happen if I put out a couple of songs first and then kind of like judging the reaction. And then also that all, under the bed, forget about that, kind of letting myself get more of a body of work out there so I can decide how I want to approach things in what order. Very film brain.
Yeah.
I kind of, at first I wanted to tackle it like I feel like most people are tackling it, which is song, video. You can't have the release without the video. The world of TikTok and the advice that I've gotten has really freed me of those shackles, because they're like, listen, my guy, you don't have to have a music video right off the bat. You don't have to have the highest production off the bat. You just got to have something that makes people feel something. That's all that matters. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. Duh. So like, I'm skipping to the honorable mention, but my honorable mention was my friend, Nikki Rodriguez, who goes by Nikki Directs, because she was the one who, she shot the photos for Drifter, but she also came over to help me do these ones. And I said to her, look, we're going real lo-fi. We're doing DIY. We're shooting it on iPhone. It's going to take like no time at all. Cause I want the vibe. I know what I want, and it doesn't have to be complicated. And she said, cool. And she was so down to run with that. And she got these really cool images, and she helped me get some really like simple, but I think effective, pieces for my storytelling. So that was informative to me, because I'm like, I think it's going to be fun to keep it on that low scale for a while. And then when I'm ready and when I have the budget to bump it up and start doing those bigger videos, like I'll feel really ready to jump into that world, because I'll have known the little visual pieces that I've built along the way. I think it'll be a cool way to kind of like bring attention back to the songs as well. To kind of bring people, especially Drifter is one, like it would be wonderful if I could get a video for that for this summer. But if not, then next summer. I'm not placing any of those really intense like rules on myself, because A, it just doesn't make sense. B, no one is checking for me like that. C, no one's out here telling me what to do. So I'm like, I'm just gonna like do what I want. So no music video yet.
Any more honorable mentions you want to make?
I'll shout out my producer, Ryan Ansell. He's awesome. He mixed and mastered it.
Nice.
I would be nowhere without him, because that stuff I can't really do. Not yet. He's very, very talented, and he's just a sweet, nice guy. And he knows I love him. We call it wizard hours. And so anytime I send him a song, I'm like, all right, my guy, it's your time to shine. Wizard hours are here. He's like, yeah. He like sends the emoji, but he's grand. And he's always been very supportive of my music and very excited to work with me, and enthusiastic. And I just really appreciate that. It's nice to, send to your work to somebody who actually wants to like get their hands in it and really work with it, and who's excited to be a part of it. So him and Nikki Rodriguez, my director/photographer pal. And I'm trying to think, like, did I like send it to anybody else and get any advice? No, I don't think so. Drifter, I got some advice, but this one I kept under lock and key, I think. So if I'm forgetting anybody, I'm sorry. But those are my big two thanks for this song.
Yeah, I think they will love it. And anybody, it's this Oscar speech thing, like but I think it's this, when you're up on stage, or like when you get asked like any honorable mentions, the ones that get into your mind are the ones that are meant to be. It's like, you don't have to mention your grandma, like she's fine with it.
Right.
She's still gonna love you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was such fun.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. This was great.
Yeah, me too.
My first ever official, very real interview as an artist. I'm so grateful.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, now I feel honored. Now I think like maybe should I have prepared more? I don't know.
No, this is perfect. This is literally everything that I could have asked for. This is awesome.
And this is my conversation with Olivia DeToma. Well, it's part 1. Part 2 is coming out next Wednesday. And that one, we're going to talk a bit more because there had been a year apart. We talked a lot about, we touched on again about Push and how the release actually went. We also talk a bit more in depth about Drifter, my favorite song by Olivia. And what we mostly talk about is in part 2, the part that's just coming out next Wednesday. We talk about the music industry, the indie scene. That kind of took it off. We started talking about indie music and what actually is indie music. And then it took off. We had a conversation about 1 hour talking about the music industry nowadays. And although, that conversation is already 5 months old, it's still present. And, well, the only part which is not present anymore are the Maddie Healy videos on our For You page, probably, because they disappeared on mine. Maybe they're still on Olivia's, I don't know, but that's the only part which is not present anymore. That was such a spoiler alert. Anyway, I really love our conversation about music industry. We don't only talk about the 1975, we talk a lot about the music industry, we talk about the record labels nowadays, and we talk about how it is to be an indie musician, how to be an independent musician in today's music industry. And, as always, as a indie writer and publisher, I touch on and compare it a bit to the publishing industry as well. So, yeah, I hope you have a great time listening. Sorry, I just realized this is just the ending. Anyway, you should tune in next Wednesday to listen to that conversation, and I hope you had a wonderful time with part 1, and see you next Wednesday. Howdy, here is Bonnie, your podcast host. Before we dive into this episode, I want to introduce you to my heartfelt and transformative novel, It Was Here. Dive into the captivating story of Harrison Selleck, a 41-year-old divorced man navigating the complexities of love, loss, and self-discovery. In this beautifully crafted tale, Harrison's journey of rebuilding his life after a devastating divorce unfolds with raw emotion and unexpected twists. Join him as he grapples with his past, embraces the present, and embarks on a path to rediscover true love. But that's not all. Immerse yourself further in the world of It Was Here with our exclusive merchandise. We have a range of stunning postcards, posters, and stickers inspired by the novel, allowing you to carry a piece of this extraordinary story wherever you go. Side note here, there is an offer box available, and there you get everything. There you get a signed hardback copy and all of the merch. So yeah, listeners, get ready to be captivated by It Was Here and its compelling exploration of love, forgiveness, and the beauty of second chances. Don't miss out on this remarkable journey that will leave you feeling inspired and touched. To get your hands on the book or the offer books, and of course our fabulous merchandise, visit the website at thecrylounge.com, or it's also linked in the bio. Discover a story that will stay with you long after you've turned the final page. I promise. Get your copy of It Was Here today.